Well, joining us now for another segment of In the Legal Know is Vincent J. Russo, and today we are talking about long-term care. So important, Vincent. Long-term care can be several things, really, right? What is it?
Right. So in the big picture, long-term care would be involves a variety of services designed to meet healthcare and personal care needs of a person for a short period of time or a very long period of time. And so the key here is these services are available to keep people in a safe environment, live as independently as possible. So quality of life is a big deal. And so long-term care services tie into everyday activities of daily living. So we take it for granted, but if we need help with eating, bathing, dressing, getting in and out of a bed or a chair, we need long-term care. Or if we have a cognitive impairment, a dementia, we need supervision. So when that occurs, and we really want that individual to have the best quality of life, we need to bring in long-term care services.
Now, I would think that the most optimal, or the best long-term care that somebody would want would be in their own home. Would that be the first choice?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And that's where most seniors are. They're at home. And so we really turned it around from decades ago where seniors went into nursing homes as the first choice. Now that's the last choice. So now there are more options today available to seniors, and clearly staying at home, living as independently as possible is what everybody wants.
Right.
But there's a reality to one situation, and if they need more help, if they need those services, they may need to move in with a family member, they may need to join an adult daycare program, they may need to move into an assisted living residence or a nursing home if it's necessary.
So that would be
Right.
the next step would be the difference between assisted living and a nursing home. What?
Well, a nursing home is actually a medical facility.
Okay.
So when you need a higher level of service in terms of medical care, that's when you would be moving from an assisted living, where you're living with supportive services, to a higher level of care in a nursing home, medical care.
Which over the years we've seen so many more assisted living facilities built across the country now, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Well, let's talk about cost.
Yes.
You know.
So that's the real hard challenge for most people. It's the cost. And so I think we can pull up on the screen, and I'll just give you some of these costs. This is a Genworth survey from 2020. We start with home health care and homemaker or healthcare services. We're going to ballpark that at about $58,000 a year. Now, if a senior wanted to be in an adult day care program, that could run around $23,000 a year. If they were to live in an assisted living residence, the average is $58,000 a year. So these numbers now are climbing. And then in a nursing home situation, the average is about $148,000 a year. So here's the problem. Most seniors think of Medicare as the safety net, that if they need help, Medicare will cover it. Medicare does not cover long-term care. Zero. We have a broken system. We discriminate against people with Alzheimer's, and we take care of people who need surgery. If I needed heart surgery, I'm covered under Medicare. If I need help at home because I have Alzheimer's, I don't get coverage under Medicare. So we have a broken system that leads us to only three places: private pay, long-term care insurance, or Medicaid.
Wow.
And look at these numbers.
I don't think a lot of people know that, do they? They assume that, like you said, Medicare is going to cover it if they need it later on.
That's right.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So when we look at the cost involved here, and we think about what are people living on, they don't have that money coming in as income. Now they got to spend their assets down. And if they spend their assets down and they lose them, how do they keep their autonomy? How do they keep control over their life? How do they stay at home? So it's a serious, serious crisis in our country.
So, what does somebody do to prepare for that? Are there special savings plans you can do, or
Well,
what do you do?
I think the earlier one thinks about this and starts to plan for it, the better off they'll be. Long-term care insurance can be an option, but you have to be insurable, and you have to be able to afford it. And so that's a problem for many, many seniors. Then there's the Medicaid program, but there are financial eligibility rules that come into play. So if I need Medicaid to pay for home care services, I'm going to have to do Medicaid planning.
And that is what?
Well, I'm going to have to position my assets in a way that I would be eligible. Because if you have more than roughly $15,000 in your name in the bank account, you're not eligible for Medicaid till you spend it down. So there are steps, planning, a lot of exceptions apply in the rules where someone can hold assets in a way, perhaps through a trust or another family member, and qualify for Medicaid, which they need to do in order to live and get the care they need. If you're married, there are special rules for married couples. If there are certain family members, for example, someone who is disabled, there are exceptions where you can transfer your assets to them. So, if you have an hour,
I know.
I could start to talk about Medicaid.
Well, I really was just talking to somebody whose grandfather went into a nursing home just 1 year ago, and within the next year, I think he will be out of his savings.
Right. And so no one should lose everything they have because they need long-term care. See an elder law attorney. We can plan, we can help you, and we can protect some, if not all, of your assets.
Okay. So for a senior, plan ahead.
Plan ahead.
Get expert advice.
Yes.
Because you don't want to be surprised at a time in your life when you really need the help.
That is so true.
You or your family members. Okay, Vincent, as always, eye-opening, and thank you.
My pleasure.